Welcome to The Explainer. We're about to tackle a really wild question today. What if the world you and I know was completely rewritten, all because of a simple roll of the dice from Mother Nature? So let's get right into it. What if the French Revolution just never happened? We're going to jump into this crazy alternate timeline where this massive world-changing event got snuffed out before it even had a chance to start. And this right here, this is the fork in the road. In our timeline, a furious mob storms the Bastille, and boom, the ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity are unleashed on the world. But in this other timeline, history turns on a dime, all because of something as simple, as totally random as the weather. So you're probably wondering, how on earth can a little rain stop a revolution? Well, let's break it down moment by moment on that fateful day in Paris. Okay, so instead of a revolution born in fire and gunpowder, Paris just gets a miserable freezing rainstorm. The crowd's passion is, literally dampened, and King Louis XVI, seeing his chance, maybe thinking it's divine intervention, does something shocking. He actually compromises. He releases the grain reserves, sacks his hated ministers, and throws a bone to the government. Look, it's not exactly democracy, but it's enough. The whole crisis just fizzles out. All right, so the revolution is off. What's the first big domino to fall? Well, it's all about what happens, or more accurately, what doesn't happen, to the big names of the era, especially this one incredibly ambitious artillery officer from Corsica. This is where things get really fascinating. Think about it. All these giants from our history books, they just get erased from the main stage. Robespierre, he dies a nobody. Danton, he just gets rich working for the king he would have overthrown. But the biggest what-if of all is Napoleon. Without the revolution clearing the path, his military genius means nothing. He's stuck, completely blocked by aristocrats who got their jobs because of their fancy family names. So what does he do? A totally frustrated Napoleon just quits. He becomes a soldier for hire, a mercenary. He ends up all the way in India, putting that incredible military mind to work for an Indian sultan who's fighting the British. And get this, he becomes a legend over there, not in Europe. He actually stops the British Empire in its tracks and carves out his own little kingdom. He ends up dying in a palace in Bangalore, and back in France, nobody's ever even heard of him. Now, without Napoleon's armies marching all over Europe, that whole idea of nationalism, it just doesn't catch fire. The Napoleonic Wars were what really shattered the old order, right? So without them, the world map is essentially frozen in time. And here's the really big takeaway. Central Europe never comes together. The very idea of a unified Germany or Italy just stays a pipe dream, something poets write about. Instead, you've got this medieval-style patchwork of hundreds of teeny tiny kingdoms and states. It's a total mess, politically speaking. And that's not all. Let's hop across the Atlantic and see what's happening in America. Remember the Louisiana Purchase? In our world, a desperate Napoleon sold all that land to the US to pay for his wars. Well, in this world, the French monarchy is doing just fine, thanks. They have no reason to sell. So America's dream of expanding westward? Crushed. It ends up as this cramped, paranoid, militaristic country stuck on the East Coast, constantly staring down a powerful French empire right on its border. Okay, let's fast forward a bit into the 19th century. The Industrial Revolution is coming no matter what. But without a political revolution first, the technological one plays out in a really, really weird way. See, the aristocracy, they look at steam engines and factories, and they don't see progress for all mankind, no way. They see a shiny new tool to keep themselves in power. So the dukes and counts, they just become factory lords instead of landlords. And the peasants, well, they just swap their shackles, going from serfs on the farm to basically wage slaves in the city. What you get is this bizarre, almost steampunk version of absolutism. The Palace of Versailles becomes this monument to mechanized royal might. Just picture it. The Hall of Mirrors is lit up by thousands of buzzing electric bulbs. A massive iron tower, Gustave Eiffel's masterpiece, isn't in Paris. It's looming over the King's Gardens at Versailles, a constant reminder of who's in charge. So for over a century, 125 years, all this social pressure just keeps building and building under this high-tech feudal system. There's no release valve, no reforms, no elections, absolutely no hope for a better life. An explosion isn't just likely, it's inevitable. And because this world never went through that whole phase of gradual liberal reform, things like constitutional monarchies, the only ideas left for revolution are the most extreme, the most violent ones. People aren't talking about getting the vote, they're talking about burning the entire system to the ground. So when the dam finally breaks in 1914, it's not a political debate. It's an all-out, high-tech civil war. It's brutal. It spreads like lightning, thanks to the telegraph. It's fought with machine guns. And when the king makes the fatal mistake of ordering his army to shoot its own people, well, that army is full of conscripted factory workers. They turn their guns right around and point them at the palace. But here's the tragic twist. This great rupture of 1914, it doesn't lead to democracy, not even close. It just shatters the old world and replaces it with two brand new, equally awful forms of totalitarianism. And the whole planet gets locked into a permanent state of conflict. So what does this new world look like? It's split right down the middle. On one side, you have the Oceanic Alliance. That's the British Empire and the US, a hyper-capitalist world run by oligarchs where money is everything. On the other, you've got the Eurasian Commune, a massive atheist technocratic superstate stretching all the way from France to the Urals, run by a committee of engineers. And between them, absolutely no common ground. No idea of universal human rights, just a grim, endless Cold War. So could our entire world really hinge on something as random as the weather? It's a pretty wild thought, isn't it? It just goes to show you that the world we live in, it wasn't a sure thing. It was never inevitable. A single drop of rain, one moment of hesitation, one small compromise, and history could have gone down a totally different and frankly a much, much darker road.
Please like and subscribe.